All right, welcome everybody to Grace's Kitchen.
Ta-da! Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. We are getting full festive spirit and cracking open a bottle of Zect, a classic Rotkäppchen. Well, this always goes very badly. Hang on. Ah! Should have done this before. Oh, phew. Okay. The number of times you take off the little twisty cap and then it just goes shooting up. Have you ever had that before?
Yeah, you need to, once you've taken off the lock, you need to
You got to be on
quickly be, because if you just put it down and continue your conversation, it will fire off and hit someone.
Yeah, that is what happens to me.
Which sometimes is hilarious.
Frequently.
But, that's how people lose eyes.
Yeah. So while we are pouring ourselves a drink, either maybe you want to do the same, or you could be making sure you have everything out and ready. So we've got a chopping board, sharp knife, big bowl to put all the salad stuff together in. We have also got our baking tray out, 2 pans, one small one just for toasting the nuts, a larger one for the onions, and then a pot for the couscous. Honestly, you could just do that in a bowl with a plate on top if that's easier. It's less washing up maybe. And here we go. First Zect of the Christmas season for me. For you too?
No, I think I had some alcohol-free Rotkäppchen recently. I mean, does that count?
I'm not sure it does, no. Of course it does.
Boozer. I love your matching glasses.
Yeah, I have quite an issue with breaking stuff. I'm very good at breaking stuff actually. But this is like kind of a proper champagne glass, I feel. This is sort of what they're supposed to look like. So you can have that.
Maybe for your Christmas present, I'll get you a sippy cup.
A little sippy cup would be great.
Or plastic champagne.
You'll also notice when we get to plating up, I'm going to have to strategically pick the one bowl that doesn't have a crack in it, because
I would imagine that you were planning by this time this year to possibly have some new homewares.
I think we were, yes. And then everything went wrong. Cheers. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I think it's not too early to say that. Can you see my festive earrings, by the way? Very nice now.
Mm-hmm.
My auntie got me these. Right, let's start with what we're actually supposed to be doing.
Whiskey.
What?
Whiskey. Let's get into the hard stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We'll save that for when we're eating.
Yeah.
All right, so what we want to start with is a few preparatory things. First of all, we want to preheat the oven for roasting the cauliflower. This wants to be nice and hot, around 220. I think that's about 475 if Fahrenheit is your oven temp. My oven runs a little cool, so I'm actually going to put it up to closer to 250, but around the 220 mark. You want it nice and hot to help with the crisping up as well. And then we're also going to boil some water in preparation for our couscous and for soaking the cranberries. That should be enough. Yeah, the cranberries I like to soak because when they go into salads, it's just nice, I find, to have them a bit plumper and juicier. And the dried ones can be a little bit chewy sometimes. So they can just be soaking on the side while we do other stuff. So this is when you're going to want to get your couscous while the water is boiling. And like I said, I'm going to use a small pan to prepare it, but you could just use a bowl if you find that easier. And we are going to use a little bit of veg stock. Don't look into my very messy cupboards, please.
We didn't have that on the table.
Total disorder. I know we didn't have it. I did say it, but it wasn't visible.
It was kind of a choice.
It is, yeah.
You said it makes the couscous a little tastier, but you can just use hot water.
You can. I'm also going to pop a little bit of oil in there as well, which just helps it to not clump up, I find. So while that is boiling, I guess we could make a start with the cauliflower prep.
Excellent.
Why not? so here are my cauliflowers, looking very nice. The leaves, if you have one with leaves on or two with leaves on, we're actually going to keep some of the nicer looking ones because I'm going to roast those as well. People have different feelings about cauliflower leaves, kind of brassica leaves in general, because they can be a little bit sulfurous. But I really, really like roasted brassica. I really like the flavor. But it's up to you. If you've never tried it before, then maybe give it a go. If you know you don't like them, you can leave them out.
Do you want the bigger outer leaves, or is it better to go the smaller?
I'm picking the smaller, slightly nicer looking ones. I mean, to be honest, my cauliflowers are a little bit wilty. Anyway, they're
Everything
not
looks
looking
good
the best.
compared to that mint.
Let's not talk about the mint. So sad about the mint. It's such a crucial part of the dish as well. But anyway, we're not going to talk about it. But yeah, I've really only gone for 4 or 5 little small ones. You don't have to go crazy with the leaves. And then we're going to prep the cauliflower into bite-sized florets, basically. So I tend to start by just going around the core, pulling that out, and then kind of a mixture of breaking off and cutting up.
Depending on how big you want them, I find breaking most of the time to be simpler.
Yeah, exactly. I like to go on the smaller side of the florets with this dish, just so you don't have huge chunks in there. But as long as they're all kind of uniform in size, also you can have smaller ones as well. It really doesn't matter. Do whatever makes you happy. All right, our water has boiled, so I'm quickly going to hop back over here and prep the things that require hot water. So first of all, I'm going to add enough hot water to the cranberries just to cover them, really. Comme ça. And they're just going to soak like that.
How long do you want to give them?
About 5 to 10 minutes.
Cool.
Quite honestly, I'm not really.
Just when you look at them and they look about right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With the couscous, I think I am going to bring the water to a boil in the pan, but honestly, you could just cover it and do it that way. Because I've got about 100 mils of couscous going in there, the measurement is roughly 1 to 1 1/4 couscous to liquid. So I'm going to go in with about 125 of water, and then I'm going to add a little stock. It's usually a heaped teaspoon for 250 mils, so for 125 I'm just going to do about 1/4, half a teaspoon maybe. Give that a little stir. Pop the couscous straight in. Stir it about to make sure it is all coated. And then you can immediately take that off the heat. So like I say, it's not hugely important to have it on the heat. It's just because the water had stopped boiling by the time I started that process. And then I've also just put a tiny bit of oil in there to help it not clump together. And then we're just going to cover that and let it cook. And that should also take about 5 minutes. So given that my cameraman has a nice little automatic timer in the bottom of your video, perhaps
9:37.
Maybe you could give me a little shout when it's been about 5 minutes time.
If I remember.
Yeah. Come on, you got to be useful for something.
I want to ask the hard questions.
We're going back to the cauliflower now, by the way. We're just cutting florets as we were doing before. So hard questions, hit me.
So surely what everybody is wanting to know, all of your legions of fans.
Steve.
At what point did you decide that it was worth putting in the effort to come up with this concept in order to get free meals from your friends?
Just really hungry and lazy one week. No. This was something, actually right back at the beginning of the year, I approached a couple of friends with the idea because I cook a lot. I love cooking. But honestly, I find new recipes can be quite stressful. A, trawling through and finding them, and B, actually following them. Sometimes they're written really unhelpfully. I mean, we complained about Jamie Oliver at yours before, and I've had many similar problems with other recipes. This one, like I say, was a bit of a nightmare the first time I tried it, where you had to suddenly add things and they weren't prepped yet, and it just took way longer than I thought it would.
Is this out of a book, this one?
This was, well, this is kind of an adapted recipe, so I have sort of made it my own over time, because I've been cooking it for about a year now, probably. But this was from, once your cauliflower's prepped, you can chuck it in the bowl, by the way.
Same bowl as the good
Same
leaves?
bowl as the leaves, yeah. This was originally from a website, I think Olive magazine, which I really like. I use that a lot, actually, especially for Christmas cooking. But it didn't have the couscous in it, and it had a few other different ingredients that I wasn't too keen on. But the flavor was amazing. So I was I've been tweaking it to make it a bit more of a full meal, by adding the couscous and also just personalizing it with the flavors a bit. But yeah, I find especially recipes that you're trying to follow on your phone or on the laptop, it's just really annoying. You have dirty hands and you're having to go back to the screen and scroll about.
The screen goes off.
The screen goes off.
Right when you're ready to read the next line.
Yeah, and you've got adverts popping up all the time. And I don't know if it's a thing that they're told to do, to like put the actual recipe right at the bottom of the page.
And they like to tell you their life story.
Yeah.
Before they get, like, it's a blog that has a recipe where all they care about is the recipe.
Yeah, exactly. And so I found it a bit annoying, and I like to learn by watching, and I like the atmosphere of kind of that feeling of cooking with someone. This was even before Corona that I had this idea, but it really, I thought, became even more potent when Corona hit, especially for people living alone, who can't have friends around to cook with or cook for. It kind of creates that atmosphere of still having people in your kitchen, I think. And yeah, I find it a very relaxing way to cook, because there's no risk that you're going to miss any steps. And you don't have to worry about timing, because you literally just do everything when the person does it.
Yeah.
So I had this idea, and like I say, I approached a few friends at the beginning of the year, but at that point, my idea was more that I would have one host that would do every dish, you know? But no one was really keen to become a YouTube star. So
you didn't want to do that yourself?
I was not going to do that myself, no. Partly a time thing. I mean, I'm usually extremely busy with work. So actually, initially, I was thinking about sort of handing the whole project over to someone who might want to run with it and have a bit more time. But no, I wasn't actually going to feature on it at all initially. And then they weren't keen, and then I got busy again, and so it kind of got put on ice. Just going to throw my waste away, try and keep things clean while I work, which is very unlike me, but you know, I'm on YouTube.
Indeed you are.
Yeah, and then in early November, I suddenly had a random quiet period, about 2 weeks when no work was coming in, because I'm freelance and that's how it goes sometimes. And we were coming into second wave Corona, and I just kind of felt like I kind of wanted a little project. So I started it up, and by that point I'd had the idea of going to different people each week, because then you get kind of different people's favorite recipes, you get more of a variety, you don't need to find one person that wants to host the thing all the time. And quite honestly, it was a nice way for me to still be sociable in these times, because I was finding that quite hard. And I've been very busy, and it was quite a nice way to force myself at least once a week to go out and do something different and be cooked for.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of how it came about. And I've really been enjoying it. And even though I've got super busy again, I'm trying to find a way to keep it going, because it's been really enjoyable for me. It's been really enjoyable for all the cooks. Right, Taylor? You had a great time.
Oh yeah.
All the cooks that have done it so far.
I was the guinea pig.
That's right, yeah. And the little group of people that are cooking along with it have been really loving that, and yeah. So I'm going to try and keep it going. We've got lots of exciting people lined up for the new year actually already, which I'm really looking forward to.
Going to be the final episode of this year? There's not going to be one between?
I should have said that in the intro video. Yeah, we're taking a week's break, and then the next one will be out, I think the week starting January 4th. Cool. Is the plan. Right, let's get back to what we're doing in
That's
here.
about 5 minutes, by the way. It's actually probably about 6, but...
Yeah? Well, then let's fluff up our couscous and see how that's looking. So you're going to want to grab a fork. The reason I did the couscous nice and early is because that's looking all right. So you just want to break that up with a fork so that it's not clumpy. Mm-hmm. If it looks like it's not fully cooked, or you could even try it. Mine's good, but if you think yours could do with a bit more cooking, then maybe add a little more water. You can leave it to sit for a bit longer, it's fine. I mean, couscous is very low maintenance. Mm-hmm. That's what's so good about it. But I'm just going to break that up and leave it there. Yeah, the reason I'm doing it early is because at the end, we're mixing everything with lots of fresh herbs, or semi-fresh herbs, given the state of my mint. And you don't want any really piping hot ingredients to wilt the herbs. You want them to stay nice and fresh and vibrant. So all the hot elements you really want to have had time to cool by the time it comes to assembling the dish.
Right.
Which is why we're doing that now. Okay, so that's done. The cranberries, to be perfectly honest, I might leave for a little bit longer. They can't really over soak, so so we'll leave them for now. And we'll get back to seasoning the cauliflower. So we have all the florets in the big bowl here. This is where I'm going to share a few tips on making things crispy, because this has probably been my sort of lengthiest tweak, or ways I've tried to tweak this dish. Has been trying to get a bit of texture in the cauliflower, because with the couscous and cauliflower and everything else, it can be a little bit mushy in the end. Mm-hmm. So this is the way that I have found to give you the best chance of getting crispy cauliflower. It doesn't always work, but first of all, you want to dry your florets and just kind of dab them down with some kitchen towel, because moisture is the enemy of crispiness with anything that you're trying to crisp up. So if you're doing like fish and you want to get a crispy skin, you want to do the same to that. You don't want anything moist and certainly not wet. So this is just an attempt to get some of the moisture off the surface of the florets first. The other trick is putting it straight onto a baking sheet or using foil, but like I say, not using baking paper because that doesn't really work so well. And the other trick is leaving the salt until the very end, because salt draws out moisture, and if you put it in too early, then it's already started sucking some to the surface before you put it in the oven. So we're going to leave that right till the end before it goes in. Mm-hmm. So right now we've dried them off a little bit, and we're going to add the spice, the ras al hanout. Mm-hmm. And we're doing approximately a tablespoon. See, approximately, because it's going everywhere.
When you get a measurement amount that is a tablespoon or a teaspoon, and you're using what is a specific tablespoon measuring spoon, it's a flat or it's heaped?
I think it's meant to be flat if it's like a specific one, because I think they really have, worked that out. But I'm pretty rough with it. And actually just looking at that, I think I have a lot of cauliflower. I think those two small ones weren't really that small. I think they were quite medium.
Look, I mean, it's probably...
So I'm going to go in with a little bit more.
1.5 big ones rather than being one big one.
Exactly. So I've gone for kind of 1.5 tablespoons.
Cool.
In there, and then we need some oil. I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using olive oil. I find olive oil works great for roasting veggies, even though it's like not meant to get It's technically not meant to get super hot olive oil, or it has like quite a low smoking point, but that's what I always use for roasting veggies. Then we'll put a bit of pepper in. I now automatically do Georgia's 10 turns of pepper. She does 10 turns of pepper to 5 of salt, and I thought it was hilarious, and now I've really taken it on.
Okay, it's a little OCD, but all good.
And then the last thing we're going to add before we mix it all together is the salt. And just to help people at home know how much I'm putting in, I think I'm doing a quarter teaspoon. I'm going to do a half teaspoon because this is a larger cauliflower.
Yeah. And
cauliflower is quite flavorless in and of itself. Okay, and now we're going to get in with the hands and really mix it all together and really try and rub the seasoning onto everything, because this is what is going to make the cauliflower taste amazing. And it might not all stay in the bowl, but that's okay. So yeah, I think this bit is quite important, getting a really even mix of the salt and the spice. So I think it's better to spend a little too long than not enough on this. Mm-hmm. And you really want all the white, cloudy bits to be turning this nice yellowy colour from the spices.
Smells good.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good spice. Do you cook with Razzle Hanu? Have you used it before for anything?
I have never even heard of it. The thing that I thought of when you first introduced it was it sounds like a Batman villain.
Razzle. I like emphasising the razzle of it.
Oh no, there's a Batman villain called Ra's al Ghul. He was the villain in the Liam Neeson one in Batman Begins. Yeah. But I'm trying to limit my comic book nerdery with you, Grace, because I know you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, especially at Christmas. All right, we're well mixed in there. I ran a little sink of soapy water for this very purpose, but you might want to wash your hands at this point.
Cool.
You will also have got
very nice and kind of mustard coloured.
Yeah, exactly. And depending on what spice mix or brand you've used, it's going to be the colour may vary.
Is Ras Al Hanout a little bit like garam masala, where different brands will be different kind of spices?
That's the impression I get for sure.
Right.
It kind of seems to be based around the same ones, but yeah, the mix differs a lot. All right, now I'm going to tip this out straight onto my baking pan, which I've not lined with anything because, like I say, I find that helps it crisp up a bit. Mm-hmm. Sugar it around. The other important thing is you want to make sure it is one layer. You don't want anything stacked up.
Yeah, right.
And you also kind of want to make sure that the leaves are fairly grabbable because they're not actually going to stay in for the full length of time because they cook a lot quicker. So at some point I'm going to grab the leaves out.
Yep.
So make sure they're not buried. All right.
Looking
good. And then I swear this oven did say it was preheated, but now the light's back on as if to say it's not. But
it's just temperamental.
Been on for long enough. That goes.
Grace has my ideal setup, by the way.
What's
Gas
that?
cooktop, electric oven.
That's it, yeah.
Gas ovens are a pain in the butt.
They are.
Gas cooktops are the bomb diggity.
Yes, they are. This was my first gas cooktop in Berlin, and it's very good.
Especially compared to old electric, which most Berliners have, which is you turn it on and you go and have a cup of coffee and then maybe it's hot by the time you're done.
Yeah.
Whereas gas, you make changes, the changes are immediate. That's outstanding. So it's a nice setup. She does also have, for anyone who's never been to Grace's kitchen, she has the most amazing interactive sink and dishwasher.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. Did I tell you it's not, we've realised recently it's not just the sink, it's also the stovetops.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
So as long as it's that.
Basically, something's gone weird with the wiring of this dishwasher that also doesn't really work anymore. We just use it to dry dishes in, to stack and dry them. And if you are touching any metal part inside or out of this dishwasher and you then simultaneously touch the metal of this, I'm not going to do it now because it really does hurt quite a lot. Then you get a little electric shock.
Yeah.
Very exciting. exciting.
So if you've run out of coffee, that's how you can wake yourself up in the morning.
It's really lovely when you're like washing up, you know, early in the morning, you've not quite woken up yet.
I love it.
It's not great.
It's one of those things that every time I come over, I do it just because it makes me laugh.
Or you can like hold hands with a bunch of people and do it through many people. It's a good party trick, I think.
If there's ever anyone, I'm here and there's someone who's never been to your house before and doesn't know, it's my favourite thing to do to them.
I enjoy watching that as well. All right, we're going to move on to the other things that are going to be slightly warm, again, so that nothing's too hot when we assemble it, and that's going to be the onion and garlic. And we're going to start by prepping the onion. If you have, speaking of electric stovetops, if you have an electric stovetop that takes a while to heat up, you might want to preheat whatever pan that we're going to be frying these in.
You want it to be hot when the onion goes in. You
want it to be low to medium. Because we're going to be sweating these down for quite a long time actually, so they get kind of caramelized and nice.
Oh, lovely.
So not too hot, but yeah, some people's stoves really do take a long time, so you might want to do that now. But we are going to go straight in with the prep. I'm going to chop both ends off. Slice it down the middle. Ooh.
The beautiful thing about an onion is you just take that off.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is not a very nice onion at all, actually.
It's been hanging out with your mint.
Yes, clearly. Edeka produce, sometimes. It's just not.
Is this from the Edeka down the road, or?
Yes, it is.
Has that been nuts over the last couple of weeks?
It was quite nuts yesterday. Yeah, I must admit, I've not really shopped for a long time before that because I'd been so busy with work that William had been doing most of it, but it was quite nuts yesterday. All right, so once you've got the two halves, for this dish we want strips. So it's also, fortunately, the easiest way to prep an onion, which is always good. Nice thin strips I tend to try and go for, but you don't have to be too fussy about that. We're very fortunate that this is a red onion, which are a bit milder. I always struggle a bit when you get to that last bit, do you?
Yeah, do you have any tricks for that?
No.
No? Just do your best?
I don't. Like this bit I often throw away just because it annoys me so much.
My advice is hold it on both sides.
I'm just going to
and then have your knife come down through the middle so you can stop it sliding away. But you do want a sharp knife.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about this in Debs.
My
blunt knives.
My knife situation is not good, to be honest. But yeah, it's good we're doing a milder onion because white onions, I joked about this at Lewis's, but I genuinely sometimes put goggles on because they get to my eyes so much.
I can basically do one onion. If I do it quick, I'll get one onion done before I completely tear up and can't see. But if I have a dish where I need to do more than one onion, then
it's game over. It's a problem. All right.
Yeah.
So we got our strips of onion there. And then we're going to do the garlic. It's a classic trick that everyone has seen by now. And we're also just going to do thin slices of garlic. Now I have said to a few of the other cooks that I'm supremely lazy when it comes to garlic and often will just grate it. We don't have a garlic press, otherwise I'd probably use that. But with this dish, I really do find it is necessary to have actual little pieces. I like to try and do it as finely as possible. Just like your Goodfellas, exactly. That's exactly it. And we'll keep these separate because we're not going to be chucking them both in at the same time, actually. I don't normally have people even watching me cook, let alone filming me. I'm a very solitary cook.
Will doesn't come and hang out?
No, usually I like to shut the door, put on music, and it's kind of my alone time.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
It's an interesting experience having to narrate it, although I do sometimes do that myself, like talk to myself, and maybe that's why I wanted to create a cooking show.
You put the trash in the bin, and then you cut
I'm not
the
Johnny, I don't sing it, but I do narrate myself sometimes. Did you by any chance notice when we put that cauliflower in? It's been about...
No, but it's now half an hour, and I would say it would not have been... It's definitely not more than 10 minutes.
I think it's been about 5 minutes. Because that is going to want 20 to 25 minutes.
For those of you watching at home, let us know. Go back in time. Comment on the video as to when we put the cauliflower in.
That's fine. I'll be keeping an eye on it, but I probably should have tried to notice that when I put it in.
The smell of that spice coming through the kitchen now.
All right, so because I've got nice gas hobs showing off, I'm gonna just put mine on now. They can sometimes take a while to stay lit. Oh, that did quite well. So yeah, a medium-low heat. Mine are a little bit like a shower, where basically from nothing to nothing, it changes a lot, and then from the halfway point, it's just the same the whole way up.
Yeah, right.
So I'm keeping mine pretty low.
Cool.
And then we're going to put a drizzle of olive oil, which is right behind you, in there. Just kind of a glug. Sort of thinly cover the bottom of the pan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll let that heat up a little bit. But like I say, we're sort of caramelizing. That's the goal anyway, is to caramelize the onions at this point. So the longer and lower and slower you can cook them for, the better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put them in now. We're going to keep the garlic back just for now, because that doesn't take quite as long. So there's a very low hiss that you can hear there. And that's good. That's what we want. And break them up a little bit so that you've got more individual strips, although that will also happen naturally as they saute.
I think I find I'm always, like when you ever make like when I make burgers or something and I want caramelized onion for the burgers, you put it all in, you're like, oh, that's a great amount of onion. And then by the time they're all done, you're like,
yeah.
Where'd all my onion go?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I use 2 for this dish. It kind of depends on how I'm feeling.
Yep.
But I only have the one today, so that's all we're doing.
Cool.
So yeah, turn that so it's nice and low and they're not going crazy or not frying too intensely. And then we're just going to be revisiting that and stirring it every now and again. And otherwise we're going to let it cook for a nice long time. Can you even see into my dirty oven?
Yeah,
just
all
about.
good. I mean, I don't know how clear it is, but we can see that it's cooking away.
It's like, is that yellowing the stain of the oven door, or is it the spices on the cauliflower?
The colour of the light.
Who can say? Okay, at this point I think I'm going to drain my cranberries just so they're not losing any flavour or sweetness. This is where my handy bowl of water is actually not so handy. So I'm going to drain it right in there. But that's okay. I'm not going to wash anything up in it, so it's fine. Yeah, and that soaking has just made them softer and juicier and better for salads. And then we can chuck these straight into this big bowl that the cauliflower was in. It's going to have remnants of the spice rub in there, but that's totally fine. That's just going to add more flavour.
Could you use fresh, like do fresh cranberries? Are they kind of sour? Or...
They're very sour, so
Yeah.
you would need to prep them with sugary water before using them probably. Yeah, I'm not sure I've even said in the intro video that they were dried, but hopefully people could see.
They could, yeah, you could see.
Yeah. So, given that this is pretty much the last hot element, we can start moving on to, oh actually these are going to be toasted. We'll toast these now while we're at the stove, we might as well. So your pine nuts, they want to go into a small pan, just dry, no oil or anything, because we're just going to dry toast those until they're a nice light to dark brown. So I'm popping this on my smallest hob, on the very lowest setting, making sure that they're evenly spread out. And again, a bit like the onions, we're just going to keep coming back and tending to it and shaking them around and making sure we get a nice even toasting. So that's also pretty low maintenance. And now we can move on to the cold elements. So we'll start with the walnuts. And these just need a rough chop.
See, we've got all the ingredients that we still yet to use out here in front of, I've got to say, the most boring advent calendar in the history of advent calendars.
So
you can see it's art, and then on each day, rather than chocolate, you get more art.
I'm really pleased that you've spotted that, actually, because I've not opened today's yet. And let me tell you where the excitement comes from with this advent calendar. You have to guess what the picture is.
Is it in any way related to the date?
No.
Is it a specific artist?
This time, it is in no way related to Christmas. So usually... so
it could literally be anything.
Could literally be anything. Usually it's Christmas themed.
So what are some of our options?
We're very animal oriented with this one. So we've had a deer, we've had a squirrel, we've had 2 rabbits, an owl. William actually guessed that one.
Wow.
We have had a Christmas tree. That was a bit out of left field. No one
tree,
saw that
a
coming.
birdhouse, and what looks to be either a very sad Christmas tree.
A sad Christmas tree, a cat, a wolf. So yeah, today is the
19th?
20th. We're down here.
Okay.
What do you think, based on what we've had so far?
I'm going to say a dove.
A dove. It's good. I'm going to go more random. I'm going to say a hedgehog.
Okay.
Yeah. It's another bird.
It's just a dirty dove.
It's no half point for you. I'm sorry.
It's
another
pigeon?
bird at a nest.
A robin?
It's got a crest.
A red crest? Please comment on YouTube if you know what bird that is.
I should really be using my British bird chart.
Well, I don't know if
identify.
that bird was a British bird.
I'm not sure it's a British bird. No. I'm just returning to my stove to stir the onions. They're getting nice and soft already, and to shake up the pine nuts, which are not really browning already, but that's fine.
It was exciting guessing that art was I still wish I had chocolate.
Yeah, see, we didn't have chocolate advent calendars as kids, so that is what we did. And we just had to make the best of it.
Oh, so this isn't just a one-time thing. This
is every year.
This is a lifetime of disappointing Decembers for Grace.
My partner has to participate in this as well, which he loves.
He is an artist, so.
I'm chopping the walnuts. This is what I'm doing right now.
Into how small?
It just doesn't really matter. Random. I just go like this.
Cool.
And whatever they come out as, that's how they will be. It's very satisfying chopping walnuts.
Smaller than whole walnuts, not ground. That's basically the sweet spot.
You kind of want, basically that's fine. You've got kind of a whole mixture of sizes in there, but you don't want anything too big so that it all mixes together nicely. And this can go straight in with our cranberries into the big bowl. Dusty bits and all. I think at this point I'm going to add the garlic to our onions. They're getting nice and soft already. I'll give that a stir around. This is when you want to keep a closer eye on this from now on, because you really don't want the garlic burning or even really browning. It just wants to soften. But if you've got it on the lowest and you're following me, then it should all be fine. I'm going to sugar the nuts again. It's just quite a fun thing to do, so I probably do it more often than...
Whenever you can flip something around and it comes out of the pan and back into the pan, it does make you feel a bit like a professional chef. Yeah, exactly.
Mini example of that. This might be when we want to take our leaves out.
We are at 40 minutes, so that's, I would say, at least 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to take the leaves out now. I don't really have any way of doing this other than reaching into a hot oven. So
You don't have tongs?
that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I do have tongs. But I don't usually use... Should I use tongs for this?
Well, I mean...
Okay, we're going safety first. Because this is also probably how I burn. You know, when I show you my burns all up my arm. That's probably how it happens. So the leaves are nice and crispy. And the stalks should have softened a bit by now. I don't tend to turn my cauliflower florets at all, just because I find that if you keep one side in contact with the baking sheet the whole time, it's more likely to get crispy. But if
And it's a
prefer...
fan-forced oven, isn't it? So it's...
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Is it just up or is it up and down?
It's up and down.
Okay, so you don't really have to turn it because you got heat on both sides.
It doesn't give you the most even roast not to turn them. Obviously, if you turn them, it's more even, but I would take crispiness over evenness, to be honest. Cool. What next? You'll realise that I'm leaving the pomegranate till the end because it's going to be a disaster. So I think we will do the herbs at this point.
We wanted pomegranate for the second round of champagne, but that can happen right at the end.
Yeah, true. I'll drink this down.
Do you use your, I've just noticed in the background you've got a mortar and pestle. Do you use that very often or?
I do. There's a few curries that I use this for actually.
Okay,
where
cool.
I use coriander seeds and mustard seeds and they need grinding down beforehand.
It's one of those things I've always wanted. I like the idea of having one, but they're heavy and take up a bunch of space.
Yeah, this actually was my partner's art studio. He was using it for
I don't
chemical.
know if I want to know.
We washed it very well before using it for food. I'm just giving my parsley a quick wash. Always a good idea. People's hands could have been all over it. And then I never really know how to dry it other than shake it around and get the kitchen quite wet.
You can get those things that like a centrifuge type thing.
Yeah, a little salad spinner.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that you don't want to admit you want because it makes you sound like a middle-aged woman, but actually...
Yeah, it's one of those other things that just takes up room.
Yeah.
But every time you've got to wash some herbs, you're like, oh, I wish I had one.
Yeah, exactly. So here, I don't really care about getting a little bit of stalkage in. So I tend to kind of strip with the knife. And then if I find I've got any huge stalks, kind of remove them. I did say stalkage, yeah, sticking with it. Everyone will have known what I meant, and that is what language is for, is it not? Communication.
You don't want excessive stalkage.
Not excessive stalkage. A decent amount of stalkage is never going to hurt anyone. No. Okay, that's probably fine. Maybe that's a little bit big. And then... to cut herbs, I tend to like to gather them up in a nice big ball and cut across. If my mint wasn't in such a sorry state, I probably would be doing this all together because they should be mixed.
But you want to kind of pick and choose the best of the mint?
Yeah, I need to dedicate a little bit more love and care to my mint to find out what we're using, so that's why I'm doing the parsley on its own. And then I kind of bunch it up together again and do the same again. And then you should end up with a fairly fine mixture. And if there are bigger bits, much like with the walnut, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's not coriander, it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you one of those people that coriander tastes like dishwater too? It's apparently a genetic thing.
Yeah, no, I've had this discussion a few times doing this because a lot of people have used coriander. But for me, it's something that I'm just going back to sugar the nuts again. They are actually now getting nice and toasted. I came to coriander late in life, but now I really love it. And so I think I don't have that. I think I just disliked it. So I think if I had that, then I would never have grown to like it.
Yeah.
It's all looking good. I might just try one of the pieces of cauliflower to see how it's getting on. Oh, it's a hot oven. Because the thing is, you don't want it to overcook. You kind of want it to still have a bit of bite in. think that's good. I think that's going to come out. So yeah, try your own and see what you think. Because this does not need to be there anymore, so we can make room. Oh yeah. That doesn't look very safe.
Surely you're better off just turning on. Is anything else going in the oven?
No.
Okay.
But I don't really want it to steam in there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so crispiness wise, it's kind of, it's not the best that I've had, but it's not so bad. But we can just leave that to cool on the baking tray there. That's fine. I'm going to throw my stalkage away.
Very good. And
then move on to this sorry mint. So, I don't know, maybe I won't discriminate.
There's definitely a couple salvageable.
Or maybe I could still use the wilted ones. They're probably still going to impart the flavour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use it. Feel bad for it. So with mint, I don't really tend to use stalk. I just find it's a bit tougher than the flat leaf parsley.
So we're particular about what type of stalkage is
very,
acceptable?
Yes, absolutely. So I am going to pick this a little bit more carefully. Okay, so there might have been a slight glitch there while we charged the phone. Well done me for prepping all my equipment. But really all that's changed for you is that our glasses are now fuller than they were before. That's probably the only difference.
Look, it's a very 2020 type of video, okay?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We are in the spirit of the year. That's how we're filming this.
Yeah. Waving goodbye to 2020.
At this point though, you are going to want to probably, if yours look like mine, turn off your pine nuts. So if you're getting this nice browning, some of them are a bit darker, that's totally fine. That just adds to the flavor. Then that's where we want them to be, and you can turn that off. The onions are also looking quite nice and jammy by this point, and glistening and caramelly. You can also try them, but I'm gonna switch mine off. I think those are also good to go. So you left me chopping mint, and that's where we're coming back to. And I'm gonna chuck most of it in. I'm gonna leave a little bit as a garnish, because you end up with this nice red and green garnish with the pomegranate seeds and the herbs, which is also very festive, wouldn't you say, Taylor?
Super festive.
Super festive, yeah. Right, on to the dreaded pomegranate.
You can do it.
Thank you so much for
I'm sure I've
believing
seen
in
a
me.
YouTube video about how to do this without fucking it up.
Well, the problem is, right, everyone's got these tips, and a lot of websites and videos say you just cut it in half and then you tap it with the back of a spoon and the seeds just fall out. This has never happened in my experience. So this is the way I do it.
Hang on.
You might have your own method.
Yep, all right.
Yeah?
Go for it.
So I start by doing a little like incision, a little Hannibal Lecter kind of scalp thing is what we're going for here. So cutting just around the top. And you should be able to feel with the knife that you're not cutting too deep or into the seed too much. And then I kind of rip that off. And this is mainly just to show me where the separators are inside the pomegranate, so that I don't cause too much mess when I then chop into it. And I go kind of around like that, and then I open it up. Ooh, so satisfying.
Pretty good effort.
It's not bad, huh? This is also when you realize if you've bought a manky pomegranate, which can just be the worst thing ever. When you open it up wanting all these little jewels and they're all brown and gray and mushy. But my tip for avoiding that is pick a really heavy pomegranate. The heavier they are, the more likely they are to be full and juicy inside. Not great in Corona times to be feeling all the fruits and vegetables, but that's what I did.
Just wash your hands after.
Exactly. So we're not going to mix this in because we want these to be the nice sort of decoration on top. So we're going to put these into a separate bowl. And really at this point, it's just a matter of gently breaking them off. And I actually really enjoy this when I'm alone cooking. It's a really tactile, satisfying thing to do, and they're just so beautiful. Well, you know what we're gonna do?
Give me some in the champers.
Festive sprucing.
Way.
Hey, look at that. Oh yeah.
What would mint insect taste like?
I'm not feeling that. That's a strange summery vibe. Okay, you're going for it.
Well, I just feel like the green and the red, if we're going full festive.
We're going festive. Although the mint is so old and wilted that the parsley might be better. If I put some parsley
might be a better option. Well, I just grabbed out of the pile, so I might have parsley.
You might actually. I did mix it a bit together.
Honestly, I would say it makes zero difference.
Yeah,
to the
I
flavour,
think it's
but it
really
does have
just
a bit of a festive look.
Exactly, and that's really the most important thing. Let's be honest. So, in terms of quantities here, this is going to be purely however much you want to sprinkle on top of however many dishes you're serving. Okay, there might have been another slight glitch at that point. I think there's more seeds in the bowl than they left us. I've been happily seeding away while we've been dealing with some technical issues. So I'm going to do a little bit more, even though I've probably reached what I need now, but you guys may have not. So I'm going to give you that time. Plus, I just enjoy this activity a lot. It's very satisfying. Is that technology working out okay?
Yeah, it's got its problems.
It's got its issues.
I was on wide angle so you could see the gimbal, so I've gone to normal now.
Okay, we're fine. You know, we'll deal with what we've got.
Normal doesn't have the lens flary thing from the crack in my screen,
so
crack in my lens.
Charmingly amateur is what we're going for here. I think we've nailed it.
Look, I said before, maybe on one of the bits that got cut out, but it's very 2020.
It's very 2020.
And in 2021, it's all going to be super professional.
It's going to be slick.
Yeah.
We're going to be so slick.
We're going to get like Christopher Nolan to come in and direct a series.
All right, I'm going to stop there.
That is enough cranberry.
That's a lot.
It's not cranberry, it's pomegranate.
I'm going to grab it. And we're just going to keep those on the side right now. Like I say, that's going to be mostly decorative. This, because I am going to seed that later to use in other things, such as in more festive drinks. I'm just going to leave all of this to the side for now. And then we're going to move on to our dressing, which is the final element of the dish. Whoop, whoop. So we're going to need another little bowl, endless little bowls. And I'm going to wipe my tablespoon down so I can use that. So the base of this dressing is the yogurt. That's what we're going to put in first. I don't have a new one here. I was expecting the plastic thing. And we're going to use 4 tablespoons. Pretty heaped tablespoons for this, I think. But this is really however much you want. Like, I think...
If you were Jamie Oliver, you would have been like, glug a good slosh of yogurt in. Like, just make up some words and don't give us anything.
Whoa! Sorry about that sound. And then the tahini, my nicely wiped tablespoon, completely ruined it. We've also had a bit more zect while the technical hitches have been going on, so it's all going wrong now. Ooh, nice gloopy tahini. And you want basically half of whatever you've just put in yogurt-wise, half of that tahini. So we're going to go in with 2 heaped tablespoons. This is a very dark one. Every tahini I get is different.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well, actually.
Yeah, this is particularly dark. Then into that we are going to squeeze some lemon. Quite a personal taste kind of thing at this point. I'm going to start with half and see how I like that. I'm just going to use my fingers to catch the seeds because that is easier. with that. We'll give that a little mix up with this handy teaspoon that I have found. Now this dressing, depending on what yogurt I use and what tahini I use, sometimes it's really liquid and it can be more of a drizzle over the top thing. Other times it's pretty viscous and then it's more of a dollop. This one looks like it's going to be somewhere in between a drizzle and a dollop, which is perfect.
A drozzle.
A drozzle, or a dollop.
Both good.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna try that. Oh yeah, that's good. Now I'm just gonna season it a little bit of salt. This is not a specific measurement, this tiny wooden spoon, so I don't really know. I'm putting in a pinch.
That's a big pinch.
Is it a big pinch? I like salt. Also, this is kind of going to season the whole thing in a way, even though there is a little bit of salt on the cauliflower, but not that much. So I think it should be all right. And then if you've got it and you are wanting to use it, I'm going to put in that little bit of turmeric. Just going to eyeball it at this point. Ooh.
So wonderfully orange.
A scattering, and this is going to go kind of yellowish. Well, that's interesting because the tahini is a stronger colour in this one. It's not coloured it as much as it does normally. A teeny bit more. I want it to go a little bit yellow. That will do. That's good. I might actually see if I can squeeze a little bit more out of that lemon. Quite a lemon fiend. All right, so we basically have all of the elements ready now, and it is just a matter of, I use an awful lot of kitchen towel when I'm cooking. It's really wasteful, I just realised.
Yeah, it's fine.
Should have done more cloths being filmed. But it's one of those things, like people that don't have kitchen towels, I just don't understand how they cook. Maybe I just spill a lot, but it's quite essential for me. So I'm gonna just clean up a little bit before we do the assemblage, so that we can do it here and you can see what's going on.
So far, everybody should have the dressing, the parsley and the mint, and the pomegranate. And then we've also got the caramelized onion and garlic, the pine nuts, cauliflower, and the cauliflower leaves.
That's exactly it.
So, and the really early on, we might have forgot about that. We've also got the
couscous. Do you know what? I might have forgotten about that if you hadn't reminded me. So everything that has been cooked or heated is pretty nice and cool now, especially for us because we've taken a few unscheduled breaks. So at this point we can add a bunch of the elements to the herby, nutty cranberry mixture. So we're going to chuck the couscous in there. You'll basically end up with kind of a warm salad, but not a hot one. That's sort of the plan. Oh, I didn't fork my couscous up very well, so I've got some stuck to the bottom.
Yeah, and we weren't even a full bottle of soaked in by that stage. That was early on.
I just didn't want to scrape my pan, actually.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. What are you using a metal implement on a Teflon coated pan for?
It's a very old pan. It's already sticking. People are going to see my very substandard kitchen equipment in this video. Then the onions and garlic, I'll chuck that in as well. Make sure you get every little piece. Yeah. And then all your cauliflower. Now at this point, if you have overdone the cauliflower amount, as I think I might have done, You might choose to keep a little bit back. It just depends on how it's all looking, how the ratios are looking, how many people you're feeding. I'm going to start by stirring this much in. I'm going to see if I think we want a bit more. Actually, yeah, we can go. We can go all in. You feeling hungry?
Do it.
Yeah. Whoa. I was going to say get all the nice little crispy bits in there, but we may have lost some.
Tastes good, but
I'm glad you didn't film the disaster that just happened on my hobs. Beautiful. So then this is the lovely base mixture, and other than that, we've really just got our toppings here. So I'm going to go ahead and plate up one bowl. Like I said, I'm only going to do one bowl because it's the only bowl that's not chipped.
because, you know,
That's chipped.
so far we're looking super professional.
Yeah, exactly. Here it is, beautiful. All right.
The non-chipped bowl, everyone.
Non-chipped bowl in its glory. Gonna
how
get
pristine
these
it is.
pretty damn cool guitar-shaped salad servers here.
That is very good.
Yeah. And we're gonna get a nice big portion out. Oh yeah, that looks good. So that's kind of your base portion, and then you want to top that with, depending on if you're using them, one or two of the crispy leaves. A sprinkling of pomegranate seeds. Don't let any get away. And I firmly believe that no dish suffers from the addition of toasted pine nuts. In fact, it's probably where most of my groceries money is spent.
Any salad is better with pine nuts.
Seriously. Some toasted nuts. And then, like I say, this last bit, I might leave that for just when we're eating because it does not enhance the beauty of this dish at all. The dolloping of the dressing. So this might be where, yeah, that looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's got all the colours.
All the colours. Oh wait, where's my little bit of mint that I was going to
Garnish with.
garnish with to get that red and, that real red and green. Yeah.
Good job.
There we go. Yeah, and then the dressing, just add as much as you like. I would toss it all in together so that there's an even coating throughout. And that is my festive couscous and cauliflower salad. Ta-da!
Very good.
You hungry?
I am.
This has taken a little bit longer than expected, so we are very hungry by this point. So we are going to sit down to eat. I hope it goes well for you guys cooking it at home. Thank you so much for getting involved this year and for trying out the dishes. Do let us know how everything's gone. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram at timetocook_along. And we will see you in the new year with loads of new cooks and new dishes. And I'm looking forward to it. Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you, Taylor, for filming me.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas and see you in the new year. Bye.